Cartoonist Will Wilson's syndicated comic strip Wallace the Brave appears in more than 100 newspapers nationwide. But as David Wright of Rhode Island PBS Weekly reports, Wilson finds his inspiration closer to home. The story is part of our arts and culture series, Canvas.
Father and son dockside, enjoying a bit of mischief in Jamestown, just across the water from Newport. It's exactly the sort of scene you might find in the comic strip Wallace the Brave, set in a mythical seaside village called Snug Harbor.
Well, I mean, I'm sure as most Rhode Islanders know, there is an actual Snug Harbor, a little south of where we are in Jamestown.
That's William Henry Wilson. Like some of the great comic book superheroes, he has a secret identity.
2172.
By day, he owns and operates Grapes and Gourmet, a local wine shop. But he's also a nationally syndicated cartoonist under the pen name Will Henry.
What pays the bills, the comic strip or the liquor store?
It's the comic strip now, which is, it's a dream come true. But the liquor store was kind of an opportunistic endeavor. You know, I was working here in my early 20s, and the owner was very nice. It went up for sale. He lived in Arizona, didn't really want to be here anymore. And he offered it to me at a discount price, and I took advantage of that price.
Excellent.
And because I was trying to do cartoons, I brought my drawing desk down here.
That little drafting table under the wine rack, his window onto the world. Cartooning was something he used to do in his downtime.
And then how'd you come up with Wallace the Brave?
I was sitting in that drawing table in there and looking out the window, and I saw a kid on a pylon. And it was summertime, and they were laughing, and another kid came and just pushed him off of it, and he fell in the water and splashed, and he popped out, and he was laughing, ear to ear, just so happy. And I thought, that's a moment I want to capture. You know, fun, ocean, kids being kids, and there was like a click moment where I saw a path to a successful comic strip.
Very briefly, for those unfamiliar, here are the dramatis personae.
The main character is Wallace. He's just an energetic, happy, very positive kid. He's the main character. His best friend is Spud, who's kind of the neurotic. He's a weird kid, and he's very self-conscious of those weird things. But Wallace celebrates them, and I think that's what makes them click.
There's Wallace's kid brother, Sterling, who never met a bug he wouldn't eat. And then there's Amelia, who's the new girl in town.
She's very feisty.
And your sister's name, suspiciously enough, is Amelia.
And I would never cross her.
The inspiration, always close to home.
The weird thing is, when I first started drawing this comic, I was maybe 29, 28. I had no kids. I was married. And the characters, especially the parents and the kids, were very much based on my experience as me being the child, and the parent characters were my parents. After a couple kids and being in the family life, I've noticed the parents have kind of evolved into my wife and I, and the kid characters, I see a lot more of my kids in them.
Can you point to an example where you got an idea from something that happened in your own life?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a comic that just ran last Sunday where, when I draw my comics, I'll either draw them here at the liquor store or up in my, studio. And one time I came down from the studio and my wife is wearing a cape and a Dr. Seuss hat, and she's holding a ladle, and the kids are half naked and they got stuff all over them, and they're playing this imaginary game. And I just thought, this is crazy. What are you doing, honey? And they all made fun of me because I wasn't in costume. And so those kind of moments I try to capture for the comic because they're surprising to me, but they're real.
People have compared it to Peanuts, to Calvin and Hobbes. It's old-fashioned in a way.
Yeah. I'm trying to build a world where the kids there is technology in their world, but I want Wallace, the main character, to be the one that says, that stuff is fine, but I enjoy being out in nature. I enjoy being out, just the world.
And that world never fails to inspire him.
That's the reason I had the kids.
The comic strip and the family celebrating life's daily adventures. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm David Wright in Jamestown, Rhode Island.